What's up people, thanks for joining me in this video. So in this particular video, I will be talking about some of the things you need to start doing in order to stay ahead of the taxes that you would have to file. I'm not a tax professional, and I'm also going to tell you that most of the publications that I used in making this video are all from the IRS, and some of these publications haven't even been updated yet. Most of them are from the year 2019. So if there's any changes, which I'm sure should be coming out soon, I will be updating in the comment section below to show what has changed and what may be different. So currently we are in the year 2020, so your taxes will be due very soon. By April 15, 2020, you should have filed your taxes for the previous year, 2019. So right now is the time to start preparing for that period, because once you wait until that last minute, you start to rush, you end up making mistakes, you end up making amendments to your taxes, it costs you more money, more time, more headache, and you get a point. Get ready now while you can, because you have a lot of time before that period. So what are the things you can start doing early? First thing is to get organized. In order to be able to prove that you have made legitimate expenses, you need to be able to prove to the IRS that they are true. So in order to do that, you need to stay organized. So let's start with some of the documents you start receiving very soon. As a self-employed person, you should start putting your Schedule C form together. You need to understand that during the tax year that you're filing for, if you made qualified expenses towards your business, then you need to start putting those together as well. I would hope that you've been doing this along the way, because if you have, then this process is going to be much easier for you. Gift expenses, training expenses, qualified education expenses are things that you can start putting together in order to maximize your deductions. And this is all legal, because that's what the IRS actually wants you to do. So start putting those documents together. If you are an employee, then you should be receiving your W-2. Now, the IRS stipulates that the employer sends you your W-2s by the end of January 31st. If you do not have your W-2s by February 15th, 2020, then you're actually legally allowed to call the IRS for help as to why your employer hasn't sent you your W-2. I would suggest that you call your employer first to try to get the W-2 yourself if you're still employed at a place. But if you're not employed at a place, or if you're now employed at a different location, then you can still call them, and if they're not responding, or for some reason they haven't sent it to you, then you want to contact the IRS. One of the things that I've noticed could cause a lot of issues is your address. If your address isn't updated with the previous employer, then obviously you probably would not get the W-2. Also to mention, as an employee, if you have qualified expenses for the year 2019 that you used during work, then you can actually make those claims as well. My suggestion is this: if you have made qualified expenses during the year 2019, one of the best ways to identify these expenses is to go through your bank statement, your credit card statements that you mostly use for your transactions, and go from month to month. I know this might take a little bit, but to be honest, it doesn't take that much. I mean, mentally it might seem like a lot, but when you actually do it, it doesn't take that long to do this process. You can actually go through this statement online and just pick the important expenses that you want to claim from January to December. Once you put those expenses to the side and have an amount, make sure you can also back it up with maybe a receipt. Now, you might not have the physical receipt. For example, if you make medical expenses, you can get those receipts mostly from maybe an online database system. If you made education expenses, you can actually get those expenses shown to you through your school, maybe website or something. So there's always a way to prove these expenses, but the first thing is to actually know that you made them, and that's why I'm suggesting that you go through your bank information, your bank statements, and start looking at these transactions that you made over time, and then you can find ways to prove them. If you have some other form of income in the year 2019, you might have to also make some adjustments to your taxes as you're filing them as well. So one of the forms you will need is 1099. Now, there's so many 1099 forms, like the 1099 DIV, the 1099 miscellaneous, the 1099 interest forms, and all these other forms under the 1099 series. So you will have to make some adjustments to your taxes as you file them. Now, according to the IRS, these forms should be ready by January 31st also. And if you're getting a form 1099 from a broker, then you should have it by February 15. If you do not have it by February 15, by March 15, I believe, you can actually call the IRS for help, letting them know that you haven't received a specific form. Some of the deductions that you can legally make are like things like your student loans. All right, if you have made student loan payments in the year 2019, then you may qualify. I say may because if your modified adjusted gross income is more than $80,000, then you may not qualify for a deduction on student loans interest payments. So I would think for most people that are starting out with student loans, you probably will not cross that threshold and you will definitely qualify for that student loan deductions as well. So start looking at the student loan payments that you made, look at your transactions you made towards your loans for the school and start putting them aside because you may qualify to get some back towards the student loans. The next thing is your mortgage interest deductions as well. If you have a house or you bought a home, then you may qualify for some of the interest payments you've made towards your mortgage. Best way to go about it also is to look at your statement. All right, if you can look at a mortgage statement, this will be able to show some of the payments you made towards the interest, all right, of your loan, and you may qualify to get some deductions out as well. Now, just to touch on the student expenses, if you have qualified education expenses, you may also be able to make those deductions. For example, if you paid for tuition and if you paid for books, computers, equipment, transportation, as long as they are qualified education expenses, then you may be able to make those deductions on your taxes. So start organizing these documents to be able to prove that these are all qualified expenses to the IRS just in case you get audited. Medical and dental expenses, all right, this is another big one that we all spend a lot of money on, especially those tests, those x-ray scans that you did and CT scans and and so many of them. As long as these are medical expenses to prevent a disease, to cure a disease, and the necessary diagnosis that you may have gone through in the year 2019, this all qualify as medical expenses that can be deductible, and you should do them as well. When it comes to deductions, you may be better off just using a standard deduction, but if you think by itemizing your deduction you will end up getting more money back, then you could do that. Although it might take a little bit more work, but at least you are guaranteed of making more money back. As a recording of this video, the standard deduction for a single or married filing separately is $12,000. And if you're married filing jointly, it's $24,000. And if you're head of household, it's $18,000. Those numbers are pretty straightforward. And that's why a lot of people would always just use standard deductions. But if you think you've exceeded those amounts or you will exceed those amounts by bringing in all these expenses and credit and all, you may be able to use just the itemized option and then list all these expenses in your return. I'm not a tax professional, and I'm also going to tell you that most of the publications that I used in making this video are all from the IRS, and some of these publications haven't even been updated yet. Most of them are from the year 2019 for the previous year 2018 tax season. So if there's any changes, which I'm sure should be coming out soon, I will be updating in the comment section below to show what has changed and what may be different in this video. One other thing before I leave, it's very important that you understand your taxes. You are the one making the expenses, the government is taking its cut. If you understand how you can maximize your tax benefits, then you end up keeping more of your money. So my advice is spend more time understanding your taxes and your situation. Make changes to your W-4 as necessary if you're an employee. Get a tax professional to help you if you find yourself not being sure of something when it relates to your taxes. Also, if you understand better how your taxes work, you will be a better communicator with your tax advisor. The more information you have and understand, the more you can help the tax advisor you'll be working with. And the more you make the tax advisor's work and life easier because they can help you more and you guys can basically help to maximize your returns. So if you found value in this video, again, stay tuned for the next video because I have more information to share with you. So subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell notification. Don't forget to also like this video. Leave your comments in the comment section below and I'll reply to them as soon as I can. I do want to thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in my next video next time.